Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 37. We are available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with iTunes, Spotify, and many more. Today, we're going to talk about the general news, which consists of the Ghost of Tsushima State of Play and the Snyder Cut. Then we're going to get into our recent activities, and then the EVO Online sort of debacle, which includes Smash Online not being included. So first piece of news is that PlayStation Studios was announced. It's sort of like games developed and managed by Sony's worldwide studios, and the games featured in it, which had like a sort of like Marvel Studios-esque like intro, was Uncharted, Little Big Planet, God of War, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon Zero Dawn, and The Last of Us. So this is very interesting because I think that putting their games or like their exclusives under like one studio is very good, and it sort of like makes it so like people know that these are games that were made for PlayStation and are developed by PlayStation, sort of thing.
Yeah, it makes sense because Nintendo, all their like first party games are just like Nintendo. With a lot of the first party Sony stuff is like Naughty Dog or a Soniac or whatever. So if they have like they're still gonna have like a Soniac or whatever, but it goes out like the Sony worldwide studio, like like, it's like a first party Sony game. And it just makes it so it's easier for like people to be like, oh, this is probably like a quality title and things like that. And it was interesting to see what games were like featured in the like that Marvel intro, like seeing like Sackboy there. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Or seeing like Ratchet and Clank. I'm like, hey, look, they didn't forget. So it's cool to see like that type of stuff,
Yeah, and I think that them doing it like this is a good move by them, just because like it lets people know, because like there are like studios and like developers that'll make a game exclusively for this console, but like it's not like Sony's telling them that it has to be exclusive to this console, sort of thing, if you get what I'm saying. Because Sucker Punch used to do this a lot back then before they got transferred over to Sony. Like Infamous was a PlayStation exclusive, but they didn't have to make it. Sly Cooper was a PlayStation exclusive, but they didn't have to do it like that. And then I think after Infamous 2, Sony was like, oh, okay, just like work for us because you've been like doing it, forever now. So you might as well just, have our funding, sort of thing as well. So I think that it makes sense now for people to be like, oh, okay, so this is a game that was developed by this studio, but it was also funded by Sony, sort of thing.
Yeah, and like Sony, like you said, they weren't always with Sony until like recently, like they finally got bought by Sony. But these are just companies that you just associate with them for a while, like Sucker Punch. Like I think the first game they did was for PS1 also. So yeah, they were always with Sony, but they weren't really with Sony until I think pretty recently too. Same thing with Naughty Dog was always with Sony and stuff like that. So yeah, it just makes sense to have them all in like one banner, I guess now, just so you know what you're getting into at this point. So yeah, it was just good to see all those like all these Sony characters together and stuff like that. It would be cool if they did what was that game called? The Smash Brothers clone. Do a second one of that, but make it good.
PlayStation All Stars.
Yeah, I'll play a sequel if it was good. I like the Sony IPs, but that's just that probably isn't gonna happen. But that'd be cool. All right, so we got next bit of news. This is big for a lot of people. They're remastering Tony Hawk. It's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. It's like a collection. It's HD and it's coming out September 4th. I have like zero nostalgia with Tony Hawk games because I like never played them. But I know people are losing their mind, which is rightfully so. Like I think the last Skate game we got was like Skate 3 and it was like bad, I think. Or Skate 2. I don't know which one it was. But I know like the recent like skateboard games haven't been too good. So going back to what made people love them to begin with is probably a smart move. So yeah, it's pretty good to see these games coming back, mostly because I think a lot of people have like nostalgia for them now and stuff like that, and people just really want a good skateboard game,
Yeah, and they announced this on Tony Hawk's birthday, I think, which is very fitting. Yeah. But yeah, just like you, I don't have a lot of nostalgia for these games, but I can definitely understand why people do, because they just played these games for hours and hours on end when they were initially released. And yeah, like them remastering it, I think people have been wanting this for a very, very long time, and I'm glad that they're finally doing it. And they're bringing back like the original soundtrack that was associated with these games, which was probably very hard to get with licensing and stuff like that. So that is a achievement in and of itself. But hopefully when this game does come out, people are very happy with it, because I know that there is a rep for certain remasters and certain remakes to not fit that mold. But as long as they get the controls right, the feel of the game right, I think that'll all be good, and I hope that it is. And there's also online play, so I think that is going to be very exciting and very new for those people that played this game a lot, especially with their friends back in the day. So very exciting for people that are, looking forward to this. And this is Vicarious Vision's like next project sort of thing. So hopefully after this, something goddamn Crash Bandicoot related will come soon.
I think a new Crash game might come at some point. Like, they're getting their name known as making some good like remakes and remasters, but it would be nice to see them do like an original thing, because I don't even know what that studio did before the Crash remakes or remasters, whatever you want to call them. But it makes sense that they're remastering this game as well, because they've been literally remastering, remaking like everything lately, which I'm okay with, honestly. Like, the Crash games, Spyro, all that good stuff. So it makes sense that Tony Hawk, I guess, is getting the next treatment here. So yeah, hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's not like they don't mess with the physics or whatever, because that's something you really don't want to mess up in these type of games. And I hope it's good for those people that are really looking forward to like a good skateboard game.
True. Next bit of news is the Ghost of Tsushima State of Play. So this was pretty much like a 18-19 minute presentation showing you on how the game works and how the game plays. So it is a open world game, if you didn't know. So that is very exciting, but also very daunting for some people, because there have been a lot of open world games within the past couple of years, I would say. And they show you the exploration aspect. They show you the way the combat works. They also show you a stealth section of the game, and a couple of extra things. But overall, I think that this presentation did what it wanted to do, which was get people excited for Ghost of Tsushima, which I am more excited for the game, admittedly. And yeah, what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I always thought, when they were showing trailers from before, I always thought the game looked cool, but I didn't really know what it was. Like, I didn't even know the game was supposed to be open world to like this, this state of play. I'm like, oh, the game is open world. I didn't know that. But yeah, the open world looked really nice. It's very beautiful. The way that nature sort of guides you to whatever markers you want. Like, if you put a waypoint, like the wind sort of blows in that direction to go to it. Or like animals could like point you to like different points of interest and stuff like that. That's pretty cool, because, instead of having like a giant like marker in the sky, you have like more like a immersive experience and things like that. So that's really cool. The way that you could choose what combat style you want to do, like either be like a ninja or like a samurai, I think that's also neat. But it seems like most of the attention is on the ninja stuff, which makes sense, because Sucker Punch and stealth, kind of makes sense. That seems more up the alley. And the samurai stuff looks cool. Like, you would parry and do all that fun samurai stuff and different like stances and stuff. But with the ghosts, or ninja, whatever they're calling it, you could like throw like things to distract enemies. You could jump on them and do a bunch of crazy stuff. Yeah, that looks like the way to go, honestly. Like, the ninja stuff looked really fun. But besides that, yeah, the game looks really gorgeous. You could play with all Japanese voice acting, which makes sense, because, it's in Japan. But yeah, they had a bunch of other fun little things, like photo mode, which I feel like is in like every game now. They have like this film grain mode, like you can make it like a classic like samurai looking movie and play through the whole game like that. It just seems like a lot of attention to detail, and it seems like Sucker Punch is really putting a lot of care to this game, and that's great, because the game looks fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to it from what I'm seeing. But like you said, there is a lot of open world games, and I feel like it might not stand out too much. I think it's gonna get good reviews when it comes out, but hopefully like it really like does something special, because open world is something that like especially Sony, God of War was sort of open world, Horizon Zero Dawn and things like that. It's kind of crowded. Like, maybe in recent years it hasn't been as bad, but it's still like a pretty common trope in games, especially AAA games. So hopefully it could like spread itself apart from the rest of the competition. But from what I saw, it looked fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, especially with the recent like console games I played, especially on my PlayStation. There's Days Gone, which was a open world zombie game.
That one too. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Like you said, God of War was kind of like open world.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was obviously
Spider-Man,
open world,
yeah.
but that game was super fun to play through.
Yeah.
And countless others. Red Dead 2, to those that played that on whichever platform you played it on. Like, there have been so many just open world games. I think that this might be like the last one to, or like I wouldn't mind if this one was the last one to come out for a while, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game's just amazing and fantastic, just because Sucker Punch, like you said, did take a lot of care and attention just by adding like the extra things like the black and white filter, the Japanese voice lines, things like that. I think that this game, obviously Sucker Punch loves and cares for this game. Like they were very like upfront about it, being like, yeah, we care about making a game like this, and everyone on the team was very like upfront and very forward about, yeah, let's make a game like this. Despite it being as ambitious as it is, people are still very excited for it because it is Sucker Punch, and I'm one of those people. So yeah, I'm just excited for the game. It's still slated to launch July 17th later this year. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm glad the state of play actually. This is probably the best state of play. It's only focused on one game, so that's kind of that says something about state of plays. But regardless, that's a different rant. Mm-hmm. Next, we got an announcement that kind of it was leaked, but there's a new Paper Mario game, Paper Mario: The Origami King. The trailer, shows what you would expect from a Paper Mario game, but I think the thing that people are really focusing on is the battle mechanics. So it looks like it's going to be sort of traditional Paper Mario, where it looks like, none of this is confirmed, but there's been like small clips of the gameplay. It looks like it's not item based, and what I mean by that, where Sticker Star and Color Splash, you have to use items to basically use a move. So you will use like a jump sticker to jump, or like a hammer sticker to hammer people or whatever. This game looks like it's back to just using regular, how it was in the original one, where there's actions and stuff like that. The real gimmick comes in where there's like this turn table thing, and you could line up enemies, and you could get bonuses from doing that, which seems pretty interesting. I'm okay with that, with changing the battle mechanic a little bit. We still don't know if there's XP or anything like that. And I think partners are supposed to come back from 1 and 2, partners are supposed to show up again, and I think 3 they were there too. But yeah, a lot of it's still up in the air. And I think that's the main concern with a lot of people with this game. The game obviously looks amazing. It looks beautiful. The story looks like it could be interesting with the Origami King or whatever. But honestly, it really is just the gameplay. I think Sticker Star and Color Splash both did good presentation wise. They both look really good. I think the story for both of them are very generic for Sticker Star and Color Splash versus Bowser or whatever. Who cares? So I'm hoping this game looks like there's hope, but I don't want to get my hope up too high because I've been pretty disappointed. I really hated Sticker Star, and I didn't even bother. I didn't even bother with Color Splash because it looks more of the same. So hopefully Nintendo is finally listening and making a pretty traditional battle system with a unique twist. That's the only thing I can ask for at this point. But again, the gameplay details are still very little. I don't really know too much yet, so I'm not gonna get my hopes up too high. But if it is the original, 1 and 2, that sort of combat turn-based style, just with that new mechanic, then I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I'm sort of in the same boat as you, just to a lesser extent. Paper Mario, I really like the aesthetic of the series. Mario being paper, it's that easy and it looks nice. And Sticker Star, like you said, that game was not all that great. And if you really do like that game, more props to you. For me personally, I got to a certain point in the game where I needed certain stickers, and I was all right, I'm done with the game. Close it up, put it in the game case, and just never touched it again. But yeah, I think that if the gameplay mechanics for this game has some sort of progression system, some nothing item based, like you said, I think that this game will be a lot of people's new favorite Paper Mario game for a little bit. But like you said, it's only with clips and small things, and I'm not surprised that Nintendo fans, especially Paper Mario fans, are being this exact and very delicate with clips and being all right, I think the combat's like this, and I think we're gonna play like this. I am not surprised that they are doing that, and I'm honestly excited to see if they're going to release gameplay of the game before the game actually comes out, because I think that would be a good thing, because it would suck to see news outlets and game critics to release a review and be it's not what you expected, or what these Nintendo fans have been trying to piece together and things like that. But I do hope that this is a better experience than the previous game, Sticker Star. I heard Color Splash was a little bit better, but it just still didn't hit the right mark, because I still remember when that game was announced and the trailer came out, and half of that video had more dislikes than likes or something like that. But
yeah.
The fact that this was a surprise announcement, and the fact that the game visually looks good, I think a lot of people are excited about that aspect. But hopefully the gameplay is not trash, is all I could really say.
Yeah, and it comes out really soon. It comes out July 17th.
Yep, same day as Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, so that's some heavy competition when you're putting it on itself. And I'm just gonna need like a video just focus on the combat. I need like I know they usually do like overview trailers if it's like an RPG, like they did it with Xenoblade and Fire Emblem and stuff like that. So I need one with this game. Just explain to me if the combat is worth bothering. If it's still like you don't get XP, or if the battle mechanics are way too gimmicky, then I'm probably not gonna bother. But if those two things are fixed, then I'll probably bite and like get it. But right now I'm cautious about it. But I'm still looking forward to it. So that's all I can say about that.
Yeah, I don't think Nintendo's ever announced a game this close to release, because I think that they were planning to have like a direct or something, but COVID-19 hit and the whole world kind of stopped. So that's unfortunate, but that has people excited and antsy to see what else they're going to announce, like surprisingly, like Paper Mario. So, but yeah, moving on. Last piece of news we got here is that the Snyder Cut of Justice League has been officially announced, and it is coming to HBO Max in 2021. So the budget for this is $20 to $30 million to finish the VFX, and then it's going to be a 4-hour cut of the movie. It's going to be split into 6 chapters, aka 6 episodes. And Snyder said that this is going to be a completely new thing, and you probably only saw 1/4 of what he did in the original Justice League movie. So if you guys don't know what the Snyder Cut is, this has been something that people have been wanting for years and years. Many people have said that this doesn't exist because it technically didn't exist because they have to spend money to actually finish the movie. But people wanted to see what Zack Snyder's vision of Justice League was, which in my opinion, like, I really didn't care. Zack Snyder, like, the way that he portrays the characters in like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman are not the way that I think Batman and Superman should act in the movies, because I recently watched Cosmonaut Variety Hours like video on like why DC heroes don't work, and like he talks about how like in the Zack Snyder movies, when Batman uses a gun, people are gonna think Batman uses a gun, which makes sense because when like the original Spider-Man movie came out by Sam Raimi, people thought that he had organic webbing, but that was never like a thing until that movie, sort of thing. So I think the way Zack Snyder portrays these characters is very interesting, and I'm glad that people that were clamoring for this, even like the actors, like the person that played Aquaman, he was like released the Snyder Cut, and a lot of other actors, I believe Ben Affleck was a part of it and things like that. So even the actors wanted this version of Justice League to come out, and the fact that it is coming out and it's coming out next year in like this 6 episode sort of styled way is going to be very interesting to see on how that works. But $20 to $30 million just to finish the movie, that's kind of insane in my opinion. Yeah,
it's like they're basically just releasing like a new movie at that point. I don't really have a strong opinion on this because I remember hearing about this, but I didn't really care that much because I don't really care about DC in general. And I kind of really didn't care about like the DCU or whatever, so I was really detached from all of this. But if he could just make it better, then I guess it's worth a shot. But I highly doubt it. Like, I don't know. I feel like the movie's still, or I guess now it's like a series, I guess. It still probably isn't going to be great. That's in my opinion, just because I think it's just all messed up at this point. And there's like really no like saving this like, cinematic universe or whatever they're trying to do. But if there's a small chance that it could be good, then that's great, for like DC fans and things like that. But I don't know. For me, I'm good. I don't really care, and I just don't think it's gonna be great either way. So it seems kind of like a waste of time and money. But if they want to go for it, then go for it. So.
Yeah, I think the fans that are like super like that like really want this, I kind of like want to ask them why, but it's Twitter, and like I don't want to get into a argument with them, sort of thing, because like. This like hashtag release the Snyder Cut trends like at least once a month on Twitter, as far as I could tell, maybe even more, because like people really wanted this cut, and the fact that it has been officially announced and the fact that it is finally coming here, gives people hope for other things that may not happen, like save Daredevil. Like I really want that to happen, and I think that that's more reasonable than having a 4-hour version of a movie that unfortunately wasn't the vision of the original director because of certain circumstances that happened. But I hope that this does end up being good to some extent, because this is 4 hours we're talking about here. And Batman v Superman, the extended cut of that movie, that did not make my opinion of that movie any better. And the original cut of that movie was obviously not all that good to begin with. I can still remember in the morning, I watched that movie in theaters, and I was just like, "What the hell is going on, Martha?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's how they resolved that? Oh my god!" Like, and then the extended cut just like added a couple scenes here and there, and I was just like, "Yep, Zack Snyder's version of these superheroes just doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry, but." When this does launch on HBO Max, I'm sure that there will be a lot of new subscribers to the service, and hopefully by the end of these 6 episodes or whatever they're going to do, people are hopefully satisfied, because if not, Twitter is going to be on a rampage. I will say that. So
yeah, they have more hope than I do.
Yeah, because $20 to $30 million, that's a lot of money, like 100%. So
yeah, that's a lot to throw to a meme, basically.
Okay, so let's get into recent activities. I got a lot to talk about, so I'm once again going to let you go first, sir.
So I've been just catching up on some games that got new updates and things like that, mostly because I don't want to start anything too big, because Xenoblade comes out next week, and I want to focus on that when that comes out. So I've been playing a lot of Warframe. I missed like a few updates, so I was going through that. The new updates added were pretty cool. You got the Kuva liches that work like what's that game? Shadows of Mordor. You know how the Nemesis system is basically like that, but in this game, it's pretty cool. You get like a dude that hates you, and you could keep killing him, and then he comes back stronger, and then he drops some good stuff, and then you could just keep doing that. I think it's a pretty cool system. It's a bit grindy to get the weapons, since there's a lot of hoops you gotta go through, but I think the weapons you get are really strong, and I think it's pretty worth doing. And I had a good time fighting some of them. And the next big update was Railjack, which is like you could make your own ship and like fly through space and stuff like that. People don't like this because it just doesn't feel like Warframe, because you're supposed to be like a space ninja, like fighting a bunch of crap. But I feel like flying your own ship is really neat. It takes forever to like do it, but like to build the ship, it takes like at least 4 days to build the whole thing. It takes like a lot of resources to build it, and this is like they nerfed it already, but it made it even like it's still a lot. I have a bunch of resources because I play a game a lot, but if I didn't have that, or if you're like a new player just jumping into the game, that's a lot of commitment to get into this game mode. But I feel like once you get in there, it's pretty fun to like fly around and shoot ships and stuff. And if you have more people, you can have them like as your crew members, and they could like operate different like parts of the ship and stuff like that. Some Warframes could go out into space and like fly into enemy ships and like blow them up from the inside. It's really cool. I haven't really went too deep into it yet, but I'm looking forward to like getting more into it. So yeah, that's been fun. Second thing I've been playing is Terraria. They just released 1.4, which is supposed to be like the final update for this game. Finally, like the game came out 9 years ago, and now it's just finally all right. We're done making updates for it. So yeah, obviously I played Terraria a lot before. When it first came out, when everyone was calling it 2D Minecraft, and even though it's not, it's Minecraft-esque, but it's very much not Minecraft. But anyway, I played it when it first came out. Then I played it, I think, a year or two ago, and now I'm playing it through it again. I decided to play through Expert because I already played the game enough through Normal, so I'm like, let me challenge myself a bit. And yeah, the game is hard. If you play on Expert, you would know it took me like 3 hours to beat each boss because you had to like really learn its mechanics this time instead of just shooting it to death. But I find it really fun. The new stuff they added is like NPC happiness and stuff like that. So the way you used to build homes for NPCs that like, they could like buy, you could buy stuff from them and stuff like that. You just have a big house in the middle where all your NPCs are, and then just like, that's it. You just have a big like sort of town in the middle of the map. What they want you to do now is each NPC has like their own preferred biome and things like that, and like people they want to live with. So the game really wants you to spread out your buildings, like, build something in the desert or build something in the snow biome or whatever. And at first it seems kind of annoying, but it's actually pretty neat because you could build multiple towns and things like that. And they give you a thing called a pylon, where if the town is happy enough, they give you like this pylon where you could teleport to. So now you could just have like a whole network of teleporters to hop around the map way quicker than if you were to just like have that one big building in the middle. Plus you get like discounts for them too. So it's a pretty beneficial mechanic that even though if you don't like it, it's beneficial to still do it because you can just teleport everywhere, and it's really neat. There's 2 new bosses, which I haven't fought yet. I'm getting close to it, but I haven't fought them yet. And like a bunch of new items and balancing and things like that. There was a lot of things broken in the game where, not broken, but there's a lot of like, OP things early in the game that you could get where you can't do it anymore. They nerfed a lot of things just to make the game more, so you just don't blaze through the first part of the game, which I just beat. It took me like 30 hours to get through like the first bit of the game. I just entered hard mode, so I'm looking forward to doing that stuff since that's the main chunk of the game. But yeah, overall, I'm really enjoying Terraria. I always have. Another neat thing they added is they officially like added mod support, where on Steam you could get a mod loader that has a list of all the popular mods and things like that. So now it's like officially you can just download it on Steam, which is really neat. You know, I love when games have like just easy to access mods, especially with this game, since there's some mods that are just expansion levels worth of content. Like there's like one that adds like at least 30 new bosses and a bunch of items, and yeah, it just them making it super accessible for people is always really nice. I love it when developers do that. So even if I beat this game or beat the vanilla, you know, sort of game, I'll probably go back and play some of the more popular mods, since I've never done that before. But now that they made it easy to get into, I'll probably do that. So yeah, I've been having a good time with that, and that's really all I've been playing. So
okay, now I got a big ass list here, so let's try to get through some of the things on top first real quick. So obviously League, been playing a lot of League. I got some unlucky promos. And then I lost a bunch of games. So, but I've not demoted yet. I'm still D2, unfortunately. But, I've been playing a lot of TFT actually. This is sort of like the new, like, I guess ARAM mode for me, where I just kind of just like chill, relax, just like don't really care. Even when I'm playing ranked, like I really just like don't care about my elo. I literally just run either Cybernetic or Brawler Blaster, and Brawler Blaster is like fun because it's just a bunch of tanky boys, and then just my blaster just killing everyone. Cybernetic takes a lot more time to ramp up, but yeah, I've literally just been playing those two comps in TFT, and if someone's contesting me, then I'm screwed pretty much. Animal Crossing, just been doing the daily things. I believe I paid off my last house loan, which was like 2 million something, but you don't get anything for doing it. So if you're asking me, you could probably just leave it there and just not care about it. But I decided to just pay it off because I was like, let's see what happens, and nothing happened. I don't even get Nook Miles for it, so I was just like, all right, whatever. Valorant, I've been playing more of that, or just like a little bit, I guess. Actually, someone on voice comms was so toxic. Like, he was saying, or like it was the four of us, and then like we had one random, and he was trying to like communicate with us. He was like, "Come on, guys, like pick it up," or something like that. Like, I could tell that like he was like frustrated, and just to like mess with him, he said that he was like the carry, and then he was like the first one to get picked off, and then I said carry, by the way, and then he went on like this rant on how like I was like at the bottom and things like that, but I was just like, bro, like it's a beta, we're literally playing in iron in like competitive, like, bro, he's like, this is why I can't climb this and that. And by the way, like climbing in Valorant is very different from like League of Legends, because if you lose in League of Legends, like as a team, you also lose LP'd even if you did well. In Valorant, if you're doing well, the game can detect that you're doing well, so you'll still like get ranked up, like 100%. Cool. Yeah. So like it'll show you like 1 arrow up or 2 arrows up or 3 arrows up. So like if you played really, really well and you won the game, you'll probably get 3 arrows up. But if you like played well and you lost, you'll probably get some arrows up. But you know, if you lose and you were like shitting the bed, you'll probably get a couple of arrows down. And like you don't know like exactly where like your LP or where you are within like your rank sort of thing. So like I don't know why this guy was just being so toxic, but I literally just like hit tab, muted him, and then just like reported him mid game.
Yeah. So that's fair.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, whatever. Like that's like the argument against voice comms, but like voice comms makes everything so much easier and faster, and I wish that like League of Legends would have it, because like just like quick like small little calls is just like nice to hear, because like there's certain things that like I can't like type quickly like during a fight, because like no one's gonna be paying attention to the fucking text box when you're fighting, you know. Mm-hmm. So but yeah, I just want voice comms in League, please right, thank you.
I mean, yeah, if they have it in Valorant, I don't see no reason why. Like both games are inherently gonna be toxic just because they're super competitive. So if you have it in Valorant, then why not just have it at League at this point? Like you might as well just add it, you know.
It just seems super weird and super awkward, but
yeah.
Moving on. Tricky Towers, been playing some of that. It gets really heated between me and my friend Kofi. But it is funny. It is a good time. I've been watching a Haikyuu, which is a volleyball anime, and I've been told to watch this for quite some time, and I finally started it. I think I'm like 8 episodes deep now or something like that. It is pretty good. You know, I'm sure when like the super hype arcs get there, I will know when it gets hype, because I believe this is a shonen, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I haven't really. I mean, I watched some episodes with you, but yeah, it's basically a shonen, just like with sports, basically.
Okay, yeah, because I know of other like sports anime, like Kuroko no Basket or whatever. Yeah. That one's like the famous like basketball anime or whatever. But you know, this one was like, you need to watch IQ, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. But before then, I was watching Power Rangers Dino Thunder because I was notified that it was on Netflix. Like most of like the Power Ranger seasons were on Netflix, and I was like, oh, but I want them like physically, because I know things on Netflix don't last forever. Yeah. So to everyone watching Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix, don't be sad when it leaves, because it will leave eventually. Mm-hmm. But I have that on Blu-ray, so I'm not worried. But anyways, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna buy it on DVD and then I'll watch it. So I bought it on DVD and then I watched the whole thing, and it was split into like 5 discs, which I believe each disc had like 5 to 6 episodes, because there's like 30-something episodes. But you know, Power Rangers, like, that's something that I grew up with, and this was the main season that I really liked when I was younger, along with Ninja Storm, SPD, and Mystic Force. But after that, there was Operation Overdrive, and that is still notoriously one of the bad seasons of Power Rangers. But yeah, Dino Thunder, just a nostalgic run for me. I really enjoyed rewatching all of the episodes in one go, because I've never done that before. You know, I've watched, you know, some episodes here and there, and then I watched like the ending years later, because I didn't watch it on TV, because I didn't know about TV scheduling or whatever. But the main thing I have been watching and trying to finish up on, because you know, there was a episode in the last season that was super hyped up, and that is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So first, I'm going to give you guys my initial thoughts on the show, and then I'll give you guys a like episode guide, like watch guide, because a lot of the show is filler. I'm not going to lie. Like, if you see an episode with Padme and Jar Jar, if any of those characters are involved, just skip it. Just skip like the 3 to 4 episodes that they're in. Just skip them. But not gonna lie, some of the Padme stuff is like watchable, but the Jar Jar stuff is like, it's straight filler. Like, I don't even remember any of the Jar Jar episodes. There was even Jar Jar episodes in season 6, which was like the Netflix season that they did. I was like, why is he here? Like, and like that was like the second to last arc within season 6. But anyways, so my thoughts on the show as a whole, it's really, really good. Like, there are really, really good arcs in the show that really expand on like the Star Wars, like Clone Wars sort of like I guess mythology or like story or whatever. And the show is canon. It does take place between episode 2 and 3. And season 7 does bleed into episode 3, and that was like really, really, really fun to watch. I'll get into my thoughts on season 7 at the end. And the highs for the show are really, really high. Like the arcs with Darth Maul, with Obi-Wan, and like the last arc for Ahsoka in season 5. Like, those are some really, really good arcs. And then obviously the lows that I mentioned earlier, the arcs with Jar Jar or Padme, like those are pretty, like, you could skip those like 100%. But I watched the entire show just to like make sure that I got everything. And there is no perfect season. Like, by far, there is no perfect season. There are perfect arcs, like I said earlier. The final arc with Ahsoka in season 5, and the final 4 episodes of season 7, where it starts bleeding into episode 3. That's like fantastic. And this is a anthology series, which is why like a watch guide is like usable, because there are ways to watch the show that you don't have to watch in chronological order, or even like, and what I mean by like chronological order is like timeline wise, because like the first episode of the show is in like season 3 or something, which is very strange. So there are definitely like different ways you could watch the show. You could watch it like I did, with like just like watching it, you know, episode 1 through the last on each season, or you could watch it in like episode guide list or whatever. And the arcs and the stories for this series are like 3 to 4 episodes, or they're like one-off episodes. The one-off episodes, you know, sometimes they're filler, sometimes they're very, very interesting stories that they want to tell within one episode as well. The visuals, if you're going to start on season 1, they're pretty bad, I'm not going to lie, but they do get noticeably better as the show does go on. Season 2 gets a little bit better, but season 3 noticeably is really, really good. And season 7, like, since it is a Disney Plus show, like they obviously got that Disney money now, Season 7 just looks fantastic and phenomenal for like a, you know, CGI cartoon show. And the violence for the show is extremely high. I'm very, very surprised at how often they kill people, because like one time, all right, so one of the arcs is like Darth Maul, and like Obi-Wan obviously like he's like, oh shit, I gotta like stop Darth Maul, and then like he goes to like fight him with like this like Jedi that like I've never seen before, and I was like, this person's gonna fucking die. And like literally like 5 minutes into the fight, she dies, and I was like, okay, there we go. Like people are dying by like lightsaber stabbings, decapitation, even. Like there is some pretty violent stuff in this show for a like kids show, and I was like, okay, like that's cool. And obviously like characters, like I said earlier, Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, the clones, and then villains like Darth Maul, like I mentioned earlier, Cad Bane, and Asajj Ventress. Arcs that involve those characters are all fantastic. Anakin, if you hated him in the movies, that is understandable, but in this show, he's a really, really good character. He doesn't just like whine or whatever. He actually like, you know, thinks about his actions, and you see that like he is willing to like kill people for, you know, his friends, or like, you know, just like get the job done sort of thing. So you sort of see him lean towards the dark side a little bit, which is like, you know, obviously foreshadowed because of what happens to him at the end, which really sucks now that I've watched the show. And the Obi-Wan arcs, they are fantastic. There is a arc in the show where he literally fakes his death and he goes undercover, and that arc was like something that I didn't think I wanted, but it is fantastic when I was watching it. And the Ahsoka arcs and her character as a whole, like she is surprisingly very, very fleshed out and a very good character, because like when the show first started out, like season one is not all that good by comparison to everything else, but you can tell that like they're sort of playing like the sort of like campy like Saturday morning cartoon sort of style show before they like get into like the super like serious like story driven kind of stuff. And Ahsoka was a part of that, so eventually she does become like a pretty good character and a pretty fun character to watch, all things considered. The clones are obviously part of the show because this is the Clone Wars. And the episodes that focus on them, they aren't filler, and they're actually really good, surprisingly, because I was like, what the hell, like I'm focused on like the army for the Republic, and like these episodes that focus on them are like surprisingly fun and entertaining to watch. And the villains, Cad Bane, he's like the bounty hunter that you see at the end of season 1 going into season 2, and every story that involves him is like super duper good, along with Darth Maul and Asajj Ventress, which is like, she is the apprentice to Count Dooku, and her story and how she shapes within the show is very interesting and very fun to watch as well. But yeah, and then season 7, now I get and understand the hype behind the, you know, trailer, and why people were super duper excited for it was because like the way the show ended, like there were still more things to discuss, and everything that happens within season 7, like they planned out obviously years and years before it got canceled and shelved or whatever, but you know, they finally brought it back and they were able to finish the story that they wanted to do. And you know, overall season 7, like the last 4 episodes are by far the best, but you know, the other 8 episodes that happened before it are okay to really bad to other people's opinions. The first 4 episodes is a clone sort of like focused story arc, which in my opinion was pretty good. I really like the interactions that they had with this new like sort of like clone like team. And then the second arc focused on Ahsoka and like these 2 sisters that she met because of things that happened within the show. I'm not gonna like spoil anything major, but yeah, like things that happened, like this is a Ahsoka focused arc that didn't deliver as highly as people really wanted, but I think we needed this arc just to like settle us into the last 4 episodes, which are just like pure perfection and like pretty much the highest level of like Clone Wars stuff. So yeah, like in retrospect, like it is a really bad and like boring arc, but like I think because it involves Ahsoka, like I'm willing to give it a lot more slack, honestly. But yeah, like overall season 7, I think if you just account the last 4 episodes, like it is fantastic, but you know, everything else that happens before those last 4 episodes, it's okay. by best. So now I'm going to quickly get into my watch guide. I'm going to be recommending 62 episodes out of the 133, so that's less than half of the show. Inspirations for this guide I will leave in the description below, including the Cosmonaut Variety Hours video on the Clone Wars, because his video pretty much wanted me to like actually watch the show before like any of the season 7 stuff was actually going to happen. And then so let's just jump into it. And I will also leave a link in the description below to like this watch guide as well if you want to like follow it. It's going to be like a Google Doc document. So so first up is the season 1 episodes that aren't that bad. They're my personal favorites. They are very campy and very much like, you know, Saturday morning cartoon sort of style or whatever. They're just 4 episodes here. Episodes 6 and 7. It involves Anakin, Ahsoka, and R2. And R2 gets like lost in battle and they get like a new droid, and Anakin's like, I don't fucking like this new droid. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And we get to see on how that plays out within 2 episodes. And then there's a arc with Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Count Dooku, and that is episodes 11 and 12. And that is they pretty much are able to capture Count Dooku, and like you see how like that sort of plays out, because you know Count Dooku's gonna fucking escape because it's only season 1. Next up are the good clone episodes. So season 1, episode 5, Rookies. This is like the first clone episode that really showed that people, like, hey, we could make episodes about the clones and it's not that bad. The next episode I'm going to recommend is season 2, episode 10. This is called The Deserter. This is about like a clone that went like AWOL and sort of just like said, hey, you know, this war's not for me and I'm going to live my own life. And you get to see how that sort of plays out from the perspective of Commander Rex, because he gets injured in battle and he lives on like this farm where the deserter lives, and he gets to see that sort of perspective or whatever. Next one is season 3, episodes 1 and 2, the Clones in Training. This is about a squad that are not, you know, working all that well together, and you get to see them, you know, get through that sort of thing about, you know, teamwork and all that good stuff. And yeah, like this is another like really good like clone arc. And then season 4, episode 7 through 10, New Authority. This is about Commander Rex and Anakin are on a mission, and then Anakin is told to go back to the Republic, and then they get a new Jedi to like lead them, and like he's pretty much like treating the clones as like disposable troops, which is they are not by any means, because these are people. But he sort of just treats them like that, and you know, they get conflict, you know, things like that. And yeah, this is another one of those like super duper good like clone arcs as well. Introducing Death Watch. This arc is pretty important for the later parts of the show, especially involving Darth Maul. So this is season 2, episode 12 to 14. Introducing Cad Bane. He's personally one of my favorite villains of the show. He was the season 1 finale, episode 22, season 1. Then it bleeds into season 2, episodes 1 through 3. So, you know, it is a 4-episode arc. It's just that they treated it as a season 1 finale going into season 2. But yeah, he is a really, really good character and pretty fun to watch. Geonosis arc. This is a arc involving Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka. And this is season 2, episodes 5 through 8. The Night Sisters arc. This is a Asajj Ventress arc, and it also introduces Savage Opress. He is going to be a pretty important character alongside Darth Maul throughout his stuff, and that is season 3, episodes 12 through 14. Mortis arc. This is a what if story sort of thing. So like pretty much what happens in the beginning of the story, by the end of it, everything gets like resolved, like people's minds get erased and things like that. So this is season 3, episodes 15 through 17. There's some crazy shit that happens in here. I'm not gonna lie, like this arc, I was literally just like, what the hell is going on? Like I don't know what's going on, but like I'm enjoying it. The Citadel arc, this is pretty much like a prison break arc. This one also involves Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin, along with the what if story that I just mentioned earlier. Season 3, episodes 18 through 20. So that is right after the Mortis arc that I mentioned earlier. Ahsoka Tano Lost arc. That's what I'm going to dub it as, because not a lot of people actually talk about this when it comes to their watch guides, but I think that this is a pretty important Ahsoka arc. This is the season 3 finale, season 3 episodes 21 and 22. And this arc also shows how dedicated Anakin is to Ahsoka. So when you eventually get to the season 5 finale arc, which is Ahsoka Framed, which is season 5 episodes 17 through 20, like you see on how important Ahsoka is to Anakin and how, that sort of entire thing shapes up. The Cadvo arc, which is like a slave sort of arc, and if you didn't know, Anakin was a slave before he became a Jedi, and like you see how that stuff sort of like triggers him throughout this entire arc. Season 4 episodes 11 through 13. Deception arc, this was the arc I mentioned earlier where Obi-Wan fakes his own death and becomes a bounty hunter. This is season 4 episodes 15 through 18. This one features Cad Bane, so that's why this arc is also pretty good, because Cad Bane's in it. Asajj story continues along with the return of Darth Maul in this arc for season 4 episodes 19 through 22, and then we get into the meat of like the Darth Maul sort of empire arc. The beginning of season 5 is episode 1, and then it picks up later in season 5 with episodes 14 through 16. That is some pretty good Star Wars right there, like that arc for the Darth Maul stuff. Ahsoka Framed I already mentioned, and then the final arc. So I already mentioned that the final 4 episodes of season 7, episodes 9 through 12 are pretty good, but season 6, episodes 1 through 4, this is like the clone's discovery of like the chip for Order 66 sort of thing. Like this is where they actually discover that, but no one really like cares or whatever, which is very interesting and very weird on how that plays out. But I think that this arc is really important going into the final arc of season 7, and you'll see if you actually watch these last 8 episodes. But yeah, that's pretty much my entire watch guide. Hopefully that wasn't too long. I know that I talked a lot, but that is 62 out of the 133 episodes that I recommended. There are still a lot of good arcs that I did not recommend. You can obviously do your own research and jump around and things like that. But yeah, the Clone Wars is definitely a series that you should definitely try to watch. It is on Disney Plus. Everything's on there, and it is pretty good. So start wherever you want, but don't start too deep into the show, is all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I was always looking forward to like watching it. Like the only things I've seen, because I wanted to watch it for a while, but I only watched like the movie, maybe like 2 episodes, and I stopped. So I probably should pick it up again, because everyone's hyping up like the last 4 episodes, like you said. But I've heard nothing but good things about that. So yeah, I'm probably gonna be picking it up again, I think.
Yeah, if you just want to watch the last 4 episodes, I could just recommend like the arcs that would be the best. Pretty much any arc that I like starred, where it involves the Geonosis arc, the What If arc, the Citadel arc, then the Ahsoka stuff, and I think the Darth Maul stuff's also important because it involves Obi-Wan in there, obviously. So when you get to the final arc, you'll see the entire payoff of the show, because I definitely skipped a lot of the filler that I didn't recommend. So
wow, you don't want to watch Jar Jar?
No, I don't want to watch Jar Jar. I don't want to watch like this one arc. I believe it was the beginning of season 4 or something like that, where like they were defending like this ocean sort of like base, and they were doing it for like politic reasons or whatever, and I was just like, okay, I really don't care, but I'm gonna watch it. But enough of Clone Wars. Let's get into our last topic of the show, EVO Online. So we knew EVO Online was coming. We just didn't know which games were going to be announced for it, or like as like the official lineup. So the lineup is Under Night in Birth, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Tekken 7, Street Fighter 5, Soul Calibur 6, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and Samurai Showdown. And then there are 4 open online tournaments. So that would be MK11, Mortal Kombat 11, Killer Instinct, Them's Fighting Herd, and Skullgirls. Now, the one game that everyone was like, what the hell? There's no Smash Online. So no Smash Ultimate. And I think a lot of people, especially within the Smash community, knew that this was coming, because there were a lot of events for Smash Ultimate that obviously took place online because of the current situation that we are in. And yeah, the online is not that good. Like there would straight up be like top 8 like bracket like matches, and like someone would like DC or like extreme lag or something like that. Like it would be pretty bad, and people don't know if it was Nintendo or EVO that decided to pull Smash Ultimate, But Nintendo recently announced that they are having an open online tournament. So it could have been EVO. It could have been Nintendo that wanted to pull themselves to have their own online thing, but I doubt it. I feel like EVO was like, I'm sorry, Smash, we're not going to have you in this year, in my opinion. That's just my own theory.
I just feel like the online is just trash, and it's just like, what's the point in even having like an online tournament for Smash if bad things can happen at the very end, you know? So I think it's smart that EVO is just like, nah. Like it probably just wouldn't work. And I guess Nintendo is just like, well, I guess we'll make our own, or maybe they've already had this like set up. I'm not too sure. I don't know the inside baseball type stuff that's going on right now. But yeah, it's. I mean, I'm happy to see that EVO's even trying. Like, I just expected them to just be like, all right, no EVO this year. Like, you know, it makes sense, and I think people will have understood that. But them actually like going to like actually do tournaments is pretty impressive, even if it's like, you know, yeah, like it's still scuffed. Like, you know, you when you're playing a fighting game, you probably don't want to be playing online, especially when it's like a big tournament like EVO. But I don't know, it's pretty interesting that they're still going about this, and it kind of just shows that, hey, Nintendo, can you make Smash Online not garbage? That'd be cool.
Yeah, and I wonder if Nintendo's actually gonna fix their online, because like people are like, yo, you're still gonna do like this online open tournament? Like, your online sucks, bro. Like, it's actually crazy how bad Smash's online is, because it's literally, from what our friend has said, Kofi, he literally says like it's like playing a different game because of how much lag there is and how much like delay input. So like even on like a perfect connection, he said there's like enough lag where like it's not the same as land, even on a perfect connection, which is kind of crazy. So I wonder if they're actually going to do anything. I doubt it, because this is Nintendo we're talking about here, and they're like, this is a children's game, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, like all of these other games, especially Skullgirls, I think are very glad that they got into EVO still, because EVO is still a tournament/event that has a lot of people's eyes on it. And yeah, like all of these games just have better online than Smash, just because they actually treat their online like a fighting game, while Nintendo doesn't do it like that for whatever reason, because they're Nintendo.
Yeah, they will always like skimp out on online, like always. I think the only good online experience I have with Nintendo is Mario Kart. It's pretty good. Like I don't think I have too many issues with that. I don't play like all the time, but when I did play Mario Kart Online on Switch and even on Wii U, I thought it was fine. Like that game ran fine. So, but everything else has always been like third rate online. I don't know why they still can't get it. Like it's such a big component to video games now that them not figuring out online is just like confusing to me. I do not know how they don't understand how any of this works yet.
Yeah, I think like people thinking that Nintendo probably pulled it because they might have saw what was happening with online. I doubt it. I feel like EVO probably saw what was happening on like Twitter and things and be like, oh shit, like this does not look good. And like if they're like showcasing a game like this, it's obviously not going to be good on EVO or Nintendo for them showing a game like this where it's like it's laggy, someone DCs during a match, like that would suck, like 100%. So it is definitely sad that we're not going to see no Smash game at EVO this year just because of how it is now. But I think it is appropriate just because like it is really, really bad for Smash Online.
Yeah, it's you know, and I think people are okay with this. I would be okay with this. I wouldn't want to play in this lag. Like, you know, even if the two players' connections are perfect, like there's still like going to be like inputs like being missing and crap. So,
So it definitely sucks that you know, Smash isn't included, but I think it was gonna happen. I think people that are like super shocked and surprised about it have obviously not been following the Smash scene over the past like month or so on how like the online tournaments have been going, because you know there have been multiple events that have happened and you know people just like disconnect or something weird just happens with the online. So yeah.
Yeah, it sucks basically.
Okay, so I think that's the end of the show. Is there anything else you would like to add, good sir?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay, so thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 37. We will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
See ya.